why has like manufacturing, industrial clients been appealing to you as a fractional CMO?
I think the work that we're doing is just as meaningful, like with small businesses, as it would be for nonprofits, because we specialize in, marketing plans for small businesses. The impact that small businesses are making is huge. The number of people that Nix or other companies employ is huge, and that impact for all of those families and the communities. And so I see that. To me, if there's a company who's doing really good things for their team, their community, their customers, all of that, and I can help take that one step further.
She's often copied on team emails. She really is a part of our marketing team, and everyone views her that way. And so sometimes that's just even being in the know.
Right.
You might not even be contributing to a certain thing, but you kind of have the situational awareness, you know what's going on.
That's a really good distinction. And I like that too, because that means a lot to me to be an extension of the team.
Welcome to Making Sparks, the podcast where we ignite your passion for metal fabrication and fuel your business success. Join industry leaders and dive deep into the world of metalworking. From business insights to tips of the trade, Making Sparks is your forge of knowledge. During each episode, discover success stories, innovative solutions, and expert interviews that light the path to business growth. Subscribe today and grow and improve your company, and let's make sparks fly together.
Welcome back to Making Sparks. I'm your host, Casey Voelker, sitting here with my co-host, Matthew Nix, and across from us is Alissa Paik. And as she was saying, it's peck like a pecker, not
right. Well,
peck like a chicken.
Like a chicken. My husband, we were, meeting someone, and he pronounced it, and he said peck like a chicken. And I thought, oh, that's a lot better way to say it than I've been saying peck like pecker. Alissa Paik. Thanks for having me.
And I've been saying Paik, so I was way off.
There we go. It's actually Korean. My husband's Korean. Sorry.
There we go. So I'll let Matthew kind of introduce who Alissa is a little bit.
Well, Alissa is a high school acquaintance of mine. We go way back. And I was just teasing her about how her analogy she was using for her last name. I said, "You're Southern Indiana rednecks coming out."
Right.
She's not really. She's very professional and fantastic. But she runs her own marketing firm, and we recently started working together probably a year or so ago. And so her and I have crossed paths many times. We have some mutual friends, and I've admired the work that she's done, and she's followed along with our journey. And so we've been recently working together. And we're going to talk about how we're working together, because that's kind of one of the specific questions I know you teed up.
I met Alissa before I ever partnered with Nix. Way back when I was doing like wedding videos, I had talked to a gentleman about starting our business then. And he said, if nothing else, you should go meet Alissa. And I think it was, I'm going to say, I think it was Joe Knighting. Did you know Joe Knighting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was the one who actually, you and Cody had that conversation at downtown.
Right. I do remember that.
The old conference room. That was like 5 years ago, I think now. I've been 6 years ago. It's been a while, but and then I've gotten to do some work with Alissa. She's referred me to some of her clients to do some videos and stuff, so it's been fun. It's
very cool, the synergies for sure, and apps like Casey and Captivated Content. I mean, you're who our go-to for any kind of video work.
That's what I was fishing for some compliments there.
Yeah, I can only say compliments for sure.
So tell us about yourself and your business.
Yeah, so it's been 10 years that I've had a full service marketing agency, Thrive Marketing Strategies. It started as, I stepped out from my 9-to-5 and it was just me, and then have consistently grown a team. Started just solving problems for small businesses, and this kind of the size of the projects, the size of the companies has grown. And because of that, needed to add more team. And we've really, though, I would say always have been maybe stand out in that we're like really based in strategy. We always do a marketing plan for a company before doing any kind of work for them. That has been like since the beginning, really. So now, though, as a couple years ago, have transitioned to also serving as a fractional CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. And that has now, like I would say as of this year, really become more of my business. So I'm more serving in that consulting role. And then I have a team also, the full service marketing team, to follow up with the execution of the marketing plans that we create. And really, I would say, the marketing, we have a process. The strategy first marketing plan is kind of the basis of any work that we do. And really, I guess some companies will hire us to do the marketing plan and just that. So whether it's because they have the team to implement it already in-house, or they're working with an agency or other agencies, but they don't have that strategy. They need somebody to create the strategy to then say, okay, everyone, follow this plan. We have some of that, but then some of our clients, we're doing kind of full service, consistent marketing for.
So you use the term fractional CMO. So I'd like you to explain that to the audience. And then also you use the term consultant. And I think, from a technical standpoint, sort of like using the right technical jargon or legal language or whatever, CMO would probably fall under the consulting umbrella. But I actually, from a practical standpoint, I view them differently. So we'll get into that in a minute. But why don't you describe the CMO or fractional CMO?
Sure, I'll describe it, and then I would love to get your standpoint, because really, to me, it is kind of semantics and it's kind of marketing for myself. The fractional term, fractional C-suite, like that feels like something that's honestly been kind of trendy over the past year or so. I think I started that, a couple of years ago, and then I'm seeing it and hearing it, and it connects with people and they get it. At least ideal clients, I would say, which is a good thing. So to me, that is, having a high level, like experienced person in their field, be able to work on your team, but for a fraction of the time. So it's not someone that's just out of school, or really should be someone who is managing your marketing operations. Now, for some clients, there's a variety of like how much time and how much I am managing for them, but it is really kind of managing those operations. And then there's whether it's my team doing some of the execution work or some of their team internally. And again, it depends on the size of the company and what their needs are. But we start with building that marketing plan. So for the business owner, it's, what your goals are, your specific personalized goals, and also what your capacity is for getting the work, for, what your budget is and all of that. So it's really personalized. For me to do what I do, I think it's really important. The clients that I work with, Nick's included, like it's very much the size of the company doesn't necessarily matter as much. It really is the culture, I guess, the leadership, the operations that you have to be able to carry out things. So not everyone necessarily is a good fit for that. Some people do need that more entry-level marketing person on their team to start with, and then, later it's time for that kind of higher level support.
Or even just engaging with you guys in more of a traditional consulting arrangement. And that's where I was going to go. So like if I explain it internally to folks, and I've done that before, so because we've used fractional team members in like executive operation roles within the company as well, not just marketing. And you're right, it is kind of a trendy thing to do. A friend of mine has built an incredible financial business providing fractional CFO and controller level work within the private equity and hedge fund space. But I mean, we're talking about multi six-figure contracts he's getting, where instead of them going out and hiring a $400,000 CFO, they're paying his firm $150 or $200. He's got a team of folks and a lot of technology to back it up to literally provide that service to them remotely. But they are an extension of the team. So that's where I'm going with this. So you are our fractional CMO, and as opposed to a consultant. So a couple things. I view a consultant more as a shorter term relationship. We engage with consultants. We have a specific project. There's a beginning and there's an end. They come in, you can rent them instead of owning them, so to speak, meaning they're on the payroll. Very expensive for that expertise. Come in, point A, point B, let's solve the problem. They move on. Maybe we re-engage a year or two down the road. Or if it is more ongoing, it's more of just like a transactional based on one specific thing, as opposed to a fractional team member really becomes part of the team. And so I wouldn't think twice about including Alissa on a group text message that's marketing related within our company, or she's often copied on, team emails. She really is a part of our marketing team. And everyone views her that way. And so sometimes that's just even being in the know You might not even be contributing to a certain thing, but you kind of have the situational awareness. You know what's going on.
That's a really good distinction. And I like that too, because that means a lot to me to be an extension of the team. Some of my clients, I have a company email address that I use and I represent, that I'm really.
I think that's the gold standard I haven't thought that there was a need for us to do that, but I do think like that's when you're really part of the team. You have a company email and so forth.
And I would say like on the consultancy side, I've never really been a huge fan. We do a little bit of consulting for captivated content, but very little. And it's mostly putting together like a plan or how people can start doing video internally, right? But I always think consulting more almost like coaching is consulting. Like they kind of, they don't always implement the stuff for you. And not that a fractional CMO would, but they have the skill set to implement it. Yeah. And I'm not saying like you're going to go in.
Yeah, or the team behind them.
Yeah, you're going to have a team. That's my skill set at delegating to implementation, but she will be in charge. I'm saying she because you're her right there. Will be in charge of delegating and implementing this plan or driving the force behind it so that Matthew doesn't have to be the guy driving the force. Versus a consultancy, sometimes they'll just come in and they'll tell you, they'll sit down, they'll listen, they'll give you a plan, they'll tell you what, maybe for that 2 hours, they'll give you some awesome ideas, then they leave and you don't hear from them. And I'm not saying that that's a negative thing. I'm saying it negatively now, but there's 100%. Me, and I'm learning more and more how important just that relationship is too. But I do like the fractional. I mean, we've talked about even captivated content becoming more of a fractional video company versus just a video production company. Like because we always like to be the extension of a team. We've actually said like if we do our job really well, they'll fire us and hire internally, and I'm okay with that.
And I would like to point out we actually have a full-time marketing manager, and I would genuinely say. Miranda has grown into that role, but she is legitimately a marketing manager. I mean, she manages the budget. She's not just creating social media posts or creating brochures. I mean, she's fully ingrained in the strategy. She played a part in helping develop the strategy, although you were driving that. She's overseeing our marketing budget, which is a 6-figure annual budget, so it's.
Yeah, you never let me do that.
You're getting a big chunk of that budget. So
I know, but you never let me. When I was your marketing coordinator, I was just I just coordinated. That's all I did.
We all have to know our strengths, Casey. You're a brilliant artist.
Here comes
not
the
best
insults.
Administrator.
Here comes the insults.
Listen, I share that with you. That's why we have to surround ourselves.
We literally just hired someone to help me do that for captivated content because you're right. I'm not the organizational guru that I like to think I am.
So you can shine in your zone of genius.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to find. I think having Miranda, a lot of companies want that. And there's a lot to it, your culture and the benefits that she gets and things that she wants to be here. But it's really special and hard to find that. So, yeah. I think
not to make this episode all about Miranda, but she developed into that. Like, right? She went from basically being what I was to now she's like even like she she had the skill sets to go into that kind of stuff.
And I think if you have a marketing person internally and they're not quite there yet, that's where coming alongside someone like Alissa or a firm like Alissa's firm, coming alongside them where they can provide that senior level experience, strategy development,
100%
guidance, and let that person develop in a mentorship relationship. And so
I think that, I agree 100%.
Do you feel like your business has hit a plateau? Are profit margins slowly eroding over time? Perhaps you've outgrown your current structure or struggle to find the work-life balance you desire. As a fabrication or machine shop owner, navigating these concerns can be overwhelming. That's where ProFab Alliance can help. Built upon a foundation dating back to 1902, we understand the fabricator's journey because we've lived it. We're here to help you grow your business, maximize profits, and live a more balanced life. With our consulting expertise, supportive community, and franchise options, we're committed to your success. ProFab Alliance, by fabricators for fabricators. Visit profaballiance.com to learn more.
So, Alissa, one of the things that me and you have talked about off camera before is, one of the things when I partnered with Nix, we really focus on the manufacturing, industrial. A couple of reasons. One is I love the people in there, and we recently did our strategic planning. Part of that was being honest that although we want to be in the manufacturing industrial, we're really the people video company. Like we like telling people stories. So it's okay if we diverge a little bit. But going back on the manufacturing industrial, that was a little tangent, but going back on manufacturing industrial, you've talked about you like it too. Why has like manufacturing industrial clients been appealing to you as a fractional CMO?
Actually, just yesterday, Evan, my operations manager, and I were talking about small businesses and, you know, the clients that we want to work with and wanting to continue working with small businesses. And I said, you know, I think the work that we're doing is just as meaningful, like with small businesses, as it would be for nonprofits. Because, I mean, for one, we specialize in, you know, marketing plans for small businesses, but the impact that small businesses are making is huge. You know, the number of people that Nix or other companies employ is huge, and that impact for all of those families and the communities. And so I see that. To me, if there's a company who's doing really good things for their team, their community, their customers, all of that, and I can help to take that one step further. And if the, you know, leadership has a big vision and I can help them with that vision, then that's a huge impact that I can potentially make. So that's kind of what I look for. More so is, you know, again, the culture, the state of how people are cared for, and then the vision of where they want to go. And it seems like just the amount, the workforce, I would also say that the manufacturing industry in a lot of ways is kind of underserved in marketing. So there's low hanging fruit. But then again, I've met so many incredible leaders who have that vision and really care about their people and have longevity of their business to be able to back it up, like to sustain the growth.
Yeah. And Matthew would probably agree that manufacturing is obviously such a big part of our country and our region, especially our region, but our country. And there's so many unique people that work in there anyway. So like you're saying they're underserved, but there's so many stories there too that and marketing, great marketing. It's not just in video. Great marketing is storytelling, right? It's just you're telling the stories of the individuals that work there, or the culture that's been built, or the products that they provide. And I think manufacturing industrial just they have so many untapped stories that you just don't. In the recent years, from like podcasts and things like that, they're getting the love that they deserve. From series like Life of a Craftsman and then things like that, you know, so.
Exactly. And that's really positioning. It's showing people, you know, really showing people those stories of who you are and what you do, and specifically, you know, attracting your most ideal client, but you can do or ideal employee, whatever that is, but you do that through telling a story of another terrific employee in the, you know, example they've had.
I definitely echo what you said about for-profit industry, but specifically manufacturing, being able to make a bigger impact than nonprofit. I mean, the world would be in a bad place without all the great nonprofits out there. But when you think about the impact we can have as for-profit businesses, but then also it's like, well, who the hell do you think funds all the nonprofits, right? I mean, it's all the for-profit businesses, but I mean,
yeah, or,
you know, higher wealth individuals, but it all came from the for-profit enterprise. That's where it all comes from. And so there's a lot of different ways to look at that, but I appreciate that you see the world that way. And yeah, and I've said before, it's like I could sell the company tomorrow and spend the rest of my life, you know, even if I invested it smartly, spend the rest of my life giving it all away. And I honestly don't believe I could have the same impact as running this business in a principled, people-centric way for the next 20 or 30 years. And I think if you find people that really genuinely believe that, then it becomes rewarding, I would think, to help them tell the story and do that.
Oh, yeah.
And we see the world the same way in that sense. And so it's been fun to work with you to help do that.
Good. I love it. I love hearing like the vision from a leader and where they want to go. And then I think this is just the way my brain works, that I can see it, you know, I can really see and then see the pieces to get there. And that's what's important, to get down kind of on paper and for the whole team to see.
Yeah.
And then again, like being a part of that journey is really cool and really fun for me.
Yeah. I think we went through that exercise with you. And I think we tend to think that someone like you or your firm's going to come in and we're going to have like, you know, aha fireworks moment, and like, but oftentimes it's very, very simple, simplistic
It is.
things that maybe we've already thought about and talked about, but you just needed really concrete affirmation of like, yes, that's where you should double down,
Yeah,
or
double
we're
down.
missing that.
Or
And
amplifying what you're doing already
some-
really well.
yeah.
I think that's from like the outside looking in, a little bit of the way Alyssa's been working with Nick's. It doesn't sound like it's a real game changing as much as it's, hey, you guys already do this really well. Do it this way, and it's going to go better.
I would like to give a real example because I think it would be valuable to the audience. But, we looked at what were the key messaging that we were putting out as an organization. And we had been known for high growth, and we had touted that high growth. And I'm thankful that we did. I don't regret it for a second. It attracted. It was like a vacuum, right, of sucking talent in. Of for example, we were named one of the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies in America for several years. So we promoted the hell out of that, and I'm glad we did. It worked. So we were known for that. We were known for a strong corporate culture, and things like when we were Indiana Best Places to Work, we promoted that. And it's not just those. We tell that sort of similar messaging over and over again. But one of the things we noticed that we were kind of missing the mark on is that, and we wanted to get the message out that we're a more mature organization now. So we had been known for high growth. Well, the flip side of being known for high growth is you could also be viewed as possibly unstable, or, a more senior, mature person in their career would say, I don't know, is that place for me? And so Alissa helped us identify that, and we came up with a strategy to slowly, it wasn't like we flipped a switch, move a little bit. The people and culture piece still, I would say, is like the anchor in the middle, but to move from a high growth perception to longevity and stability, and we're kind of slowly shifting that focus of our messaging. And that's as simple as the hashtags we use, or the thing we emphasize, right? And so she helped us identify that. Now she's helping us implement the execute on the strategy, whether that's her team literally doing it, or Miranda in marketing, or we're engaging Casey in video and pulling all those pieces together. So hopefully that sort of real life example is helpful to the audience.
Obviously, we have listeners that you guys have already said a lot of stuff that they're going to find value in, right? But we're talking to manufacturing leaders. Matthew put a really good question down that I really like, which is, what trends or new things are you seeing in the marketing space that maybe manufacturers should be paying attention to?
Okay, let me
That was not on the.
let
that
me
was
answer
not on
a
the
separate question first, and then I'll go to that. Because a question that kind of we had talked about and Casey posed before was, what's one thing business owner, or what's one thing maybe in marketing that I've noticed that a lot of companies could do? And it's what we just talked about, double down on what's working. And it's so many people do, business owners, want that magic bullet, and it's, a lot of times it's not there. It's what you're already doing. You might say, oh, we want to try digital ads has that worked for you in the past? No, or we haven't tried it. Well, let's see what's actually working first. And then maybe digital ads can help fuel what's already working, but always looking at that first. And you don't even have to really have a marketing plan for that. Just see what is working. And a lot of times, it can be word of mouth. How do you then, building some strategies around that. So that's kind of the opposite of trends. However, I would say trends really, AI, being able to harness it in a way that is helping you to carry out your marketing in a faster, more effective, more efficient way can be really strong. And you can start on such a small scale, and you're kind of just automatically saving some time there. Most of that comes around, like, you really have to, kind of like Matthew talked about with key messaging. That's really important to understand some of the messages that you want to get out. But even if it's one message to start with, use it, maybe starting with ChatGPT and customizing training your ChatGPT with content.
That's what I was going to say.
Company.
There's ways you can get AI. This is more of a question than a statement. I'm asking you to weigh in, but the way I understand it, you can train your AI to speak your language and to pull on your sort of brand. What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of
your voice.
Yeah, your voice. There
right.
you go. Yeah.
Someone just posted about that on LinkedIn.
Because if you just tell ChatGPT to write me this blog post or make me this brochure, it might be fine and sound professional, but it might not be consistent with your brand voice. So maybe
and that's where I do think, especially like online with Google, SEO, and just as consumers and users, how we're looking at content, there's going to be a real clear differentiation now that people can just generate content. So just generating content is there's little to no value in that really going forward. Right now it's still kind of in between, but yes, customizing it in your voice. And it's really not that hard. Most people are not doing that. We do this for all of our clients, and it's actually something that you own and can use. So there's value in it for the company, but it's anything that you already have that is, if you already are doing much sophisticated marketing, then you have plenty of writing on your core values, on your key messages and all of that starting point that you can use and train it to speak in your voice. And that's the most, I would say, it's not just about saving time. It's about even making deeper, richer content. Yes, and saving time at the same time. Or, as Casey's doing a lot of times, like repurposing content. Okay, this was a great bit from, this podcast. Then hopefully we'll create, additional content.
Yeah, this soundbite right now will probably be generated by AI into its own little vertical video.
Perfect.
But something you were talking about, like training, I just saw someone post on LinkedIn. One of the coolest things that people don't realize, AI is evolving fast, like super. Well, actually, people are realizing how fast it's going. But even ChatGPT alone, people are like, it's just a chatbot. What can it do? Well, a guy posted, he's like, it picked up on their conversation from an old conversation. It said he does this like really crazy hotel. He's actually a marketing guy who started his own hotel chain, and these crazy hotels out in the desert. ChatGPT actually responded and said, "Oh, is this for that hotel you're telling me about the other day?" And he goes, "Yeah, it was. It is." And that was the conversation. But I keep forgetting about like the training, because all you hear is like, oh, well, AI is not going to replace, like if you do an AI blog, it's going to be really easy to know it's an AI blog. Not really. It will be if you just tell it to write a blog post. But if you use your own content to, like you say, train it, and in some ways you can train it, isn't just the writing. You can we use it for videos. We'll take videos, transcribe it, throw it into ChatGPT and say, hey, reword this into a Word format or whatever, and it will do that. And then it remembers that.
And you can say, add this tone or this voice.
Right. Yeah. As the expert, you're adding to it, you're editing it, you're refining it. So we go through a lot of edits and
it still saves you lots of time. Maybe at the beginning it may seem like there's a lot of work or whatever, but it's crazy. And to me, it's awesome to see people who you can talk to in person. They talk really well, and they've always have struggled. Maybe it's just because in school they struggled at writing. Now ChatGPT is leveling the playing field a little bit so that they can get their thoughts on paper or in a digital format and stuff. So,
one other thing I would say as kind of a trend is that the personal presence over a business's brand a lot of times now. And I know you talked with Preston today. I'm not sure if his podcast will come out before or after this, but I'm really excited to hear him talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one place for that, but it's you out in the community, it's all of those things. But, your personal brand can convey over to your business brand, even if it doesn't have your name in the company. Mm-hmm. But we all connect so much to individuals now, and we all we have something to say. And again, that's where I think with AI, our personal experiences and our opinions and personalities are really going to be what stands out.
Yeah, that's a great point. With being able to just generate content at will, the stuff that's really authentic and real and personal, to your point, I think will just stand out even more. And Preston talked about that, about focusing on your personal side and how that bleeds over. I even went so far as to ask the very specific question, like, how often do you promote the company on your personal? Because all those very simple things matter too. But yeah, that's a good point about how AI is probably going to make the personal side even more important. And, I would just say if you are a senior leader, or particularly president or CEO, I think or owner, founder, what have you, I think your personal brand needs to be in alignment with the company brand. I don't think you have to be like constantly cross-pollinating the two, but like, for example, if your corporate brand is pretty buttoned up and pretty professional and sort of, nice, clean lines, and your personal brand is really like goofy and a big personality, which is fine. I appreciate people like that, because I'm not. But but I'm just saying, like, people will see, like, the two don't make sense together, right?
Yeah.
So I would just say that I think that there should be some consistency. To that.
And I think one of the things that mentioned, Alissa, as it being a trend, and this is totally true. Like for many, many years, all the way back to the American Dream came, you had a little bit of the time where like people would put their name on their business because they wanted that sense of pride. And then there was the other people who didn't put their name on their business because they wanted to seem bigger than they are. They wanted to be able to be ready to scale. I mean, that's a thing. And I've had to come to the realization that it doesn't matter. You're still associated with your business, and that your marketing is you. Like, like I have hard time as we've grown, like some of the camera stuff that we use, the stuff I bought personally that went into the business, and I'll be like, that's my camera. And I'll be like, no, that's our camera. I know that's a weird thing to say, but like I'm training myself to say that on that level. But then I also have to remind myself on the other side, when I'm talking personally, that it's okay to let people know that right now we're only a 2-person band, right? And or I guess 3 people now. But we serve huge customers and stuff like that. But it's okay to be small and personal. I don't know. Went a little bit of tangent.
And
there
a lot
again.
of people are looking for that. I mean, I think it's a real strong selling point in a way too. And, even the operations of your business, I think how you position and how you, like when you send a proposal, depending on, you don't need to make your business sound bigger than it is, but like to be able to position yourself to grow and for it to not just be everyone calls Casey for an issue or everyone calls Casey for a project. How are you, wording the proposal, or what email address does it come from, and who, is it always just you going on every sales call? And a lot of those things, it's like it weaves from like marketing, sales into just your operations that make a huge difference.
Yep.
And I think it's okay if your personality is like more fun and goofy, and to your point, like that should come through in your proposal. Like if I go to your website and I know it's, there's a lot of brands out there that are like that. They're like just fun and sort of goofy. And if I go there, I expect the rest of my interaction to be that way. So if I get the proposal or the thank you for your business email, it should all match that, right?
Right.
I always say the best example of fun in their marketing is Savannah Bananas. When you buy a ticket, they send you a video of how your ticket gets to you, and it's like,
what is the company?
Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, but you get a ticket.
They're basically like a Globetrotters for baseball.
Oh.
Okay. So they start off as like a small. They
start off as like an
Honors, like an Evansville Otters
minor league team
that
would draw huge crowds all the time, and then they spun it off into
now they travel I'm excited. My wife got us tickets in June to go up to. They're gonna be up at Victory Field in Indianapolis, and so I'm like so excited. And then we found out all the kids are free, and she bought, or 2 of the kids are free under 3, and she bought 2 extra tickets. So we're bringing her dad and her mom. That's gonna be really fun, like to get to see that. But I've listened to that story of how they do their marketing, and it's the personality of the owner of that company. He wears I already told Matthew I'm gonna do this at FabTech the next time I go, but he wears looks like the guy in the yellow hat from Curious George, who wears a yellow top hat, a yellow suit, all bright yellow. I told Matthew I'm gonna do a bright orange suit with a bright orange top hat at FabTech. He told me I'm not allowed to, but I'm going to anyway.
You would.
But that personality's gone through their whole marketing, and they have like post-sales marketing, everything, personality. It's just awesome. So if you ever get a chance, if you're listening to this and you like baseball, check out Savannah Bananas marketing.
And if you're going to be at FabTech, look for the guy in the orange suit and the orange top hat.
Is this your permission of letting me?
You called me out in front of everybody. So
but do I have to spend a lot of money? So,
but listen, that's
nice?
your brand personality, not mine, and I'm good with that.
Okay,
I'm good with it.
I'm wearing my orange hat today.
Speaking of this, did you forget something?
Oh, my dad joke. Oh my goodness! Thank you for.
I'm a loyal listener.
Good catch, Alissa.
Long time listener, first time.
Yes, exactly.
You got a mom joke for us?
Yeah, mom. All right.
I got some stories.
Here, another manufacturing joke. Why would someone like a job in manufacturing, or why would someone like a job manufacturing nuts and bolts? Because it can be quite riveting.
Yeah,
I'm
not sure how we get from nuts and bolts to riveting. I think that the real manufacturers aren't following.
It's not as fun.
Following that one.
That's what Google came up with. Sorry.
Should
chat GPT
bolting something together and riveting something together is 2 completely different mechanical processes. So,
really?
Nice try, Casey.
Yeah.
Give him the boot. Editors, give him the boot.
I know the difference between a Phillips head and a flathead. So anyway, maybe I should start using ChatGPT to generate my dad jokes. I bet if I were to throw in the ones that I really like that fit my personality, maybe ChatGPT can.
I like that.
I think I'm starting a whole new company. Dad. Anyway,
What'd we forget to ask Alissa?
What did we forget to ask? Honestly, we've talked we've talked a lot. I guess what is one thing I always like to get, like one actionable thing from an episode. Manufacturers, leaders listening to this episode, what is one thing if they're not doing this right now, they could do this and it could make a difference in how they're portrayed in the community, how they're portrayed to their peers. Because marketing is not only about, we want it to be all about results, but it's not always about results, right? It's about
directly tangible.
Yeah,
results.
I always say, like, sometimes it's about public perception, or it's about obviously recruiting and things like, and it's about pride and stuff like that. So what is one thing that if you, and I know there's probably not one thing, but if there was one thing,
Sure.
what would it be?
Yeah, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. Yogi Berra,
Good one.
Zig Ziglar also maybe said it. I would say, to really think about where you want to go and writing down some of those goals. And part of that, goals can be, and strategies can be a mix of quantifiable things and also messaging goals. So to your point, what's one thing? And especially thinking about how you want people, I specialize in positioning for B2B companies. And so in the positioning world, what do you want people to know about you? And you don't have to have complex strategies, but just look at then, okay, your online presence and the visuals, photos that you might be snapping and posting, or what's in the words that you're posting, or even, on the landing page of your website. Is that mixed in there somewhere at all? Or is it sending a completely different message? Yeah. And even, if it's like, we want, we're working with this level of customer now, but we really want to be working in aerospace or whatever it is. Okay, but every single photo you show is of these small jobs that you're doing, and that's the example, then that's what people see and think about who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Another real life example of that was we've been leveraging the family business aspect and the multi-generational aspect of our business. Again, go back to, remember, we were trying to shift to this longevity and this trustworthiness theme a little bit more. And Alissa said, some of your posts about your family get good traction and then they're relevant. We bring them back together. And she said, I think you and Lindsay needs a little bit of professional photography of, you and the kids, which we haven't done yet. And that's something I would have never thought about. We're not going to, like, tomorrow, every post we put out is going to be some polished professional photography of me and my wife and the kids. But she was just saying we should mix a little bit of that in because that is part of the overall brand strategy and it's tied back together.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. The visuals are so important. And again, it can still be on brand with who you are, whether you're goofy, whether you're a family person, like all of those things.
How come every time you guys say goofy, you look at me?
I did look at you.
You're really not that goofy, but
you're awkward, but
No, we're referring to people. Yeah, there's people out there.
When you say
have
it,
that big,
it becomes true.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you in an orange suit is what we're talking about.
Which I'm going to do.
I'm all for it. That would be
grinding his teeth as he said, I'm all for it.
That's great advice.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Alissa, thank you. Believe it or not, we're coming up on like 40 minutes now talking to you.
I could keep going.
It was probably,
we
probably had a little bit of dead space. So as people were be reading, they're gonna be like, it's not 40 minutes long right now. And they're probably right. There's editing and stuff like that. But thank you for being on Making Sparks. I think manufacturing leaders will definitely learn, like, even just like knowing like what a fractional CMO can bring to their company as they get ready to grow. It'll be great to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I would highly recommend you working with someone if you don't have a brand strategy, if you have someone in-house marketing, but maybe you just feel like you need a little extra horsepower, working with Alissa or somebody like her firm. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks a lot. Thank you both.
And if you like this episode, rate it, review it, refer it, share it. I'm going to throw in an S. Just share it with people and let us know who else you want us, or what kind of topics you want us to talk about. If there's everything that you guys are like kind of hint at this every once in a while and you guys should talk about this, let us know. We want to be more engaged online.
Yeah, and just in general, we'd love to hear from you. So look us up on LinkedIn. We just did an episode about LinkedIn, so maybe we should be.
I know Matthew is like me. I think we're on LinkedIn a lot, so we want to have those conversations. So definitely look us up.
Yeah, love to hear from you. Thank you, Alissa.
Awesome. Thank you.